Long ago, before machines hummed and cities glowed with restless lights, people gathered around fires to share folktale stories. These were not just words for amusement. They were traditional folktales, woven with warnings, lessons, and whispers of the ancestors. Every culture had them, from African folktales told under the baobab tree, to Indian folktales sung by wandering storytellers, to Native American folktales carried by the drumbeat of the elders. Stories taught children how to live, love, and wait. It is here that our story begins. A folk tale so strange that many argue whether it is closer to fairy tales versus folk tales. Fairy tales speak of magic, castles, and kings. Folk tales speak of wisdom, consequences, and everyday people who become legends. This tale belongs to the second, though magic lingers in its shadow. In that hospital was a young mother named Echo Amara. She was kind, beautiful, and loved deeply by her family. But Amara had one flaw. She was impatient. And impatience, as elders say in every land, is the thief of wisdom. Amara had waited 9 long months for her babies, twin boys. The doctors told her, "Patience, your time will come." The nurses said, "Rest, the babies will arrive when ready." Even her mother whispered to her, "Remember, my daughter, in both African folk tales and Indian folk tales, those who rush the journey miss the blessing." But Amara could not wait, and because of her impatience, the folk tale of the stolen babies was born. The elders often said, "Impatience is like fire. It warms for a moment, but soon it burns the house down." Amara's impatience grew with every passing hour. Other women in the ward sang lullabies to their unborn children, humming folk tales for kids about stars and moonlight. But Amara sat upright, restless. "Why must I wait?" she complained. "Other mothers have already held their babies. Why do mine delay?" Her mother reminded her gently, "My child, classic folk tales warn us that good things ripen slowly. Even the sweetest fruit must hang on the tree until its season. Do not hurry what heaven has designed." But Amara frowned. She wanted her babies now. That night, a strange nurse entered her room. Her smile was warm, her steps soft, yet her eyes glittered like a fox in an African folk tale. "My dear," the nurse whispered, "why suffer with waiting? If you wish, I can help your babies come tonight." Amara's heart leapt. "Tonight? Truly?" "Yes," the nurse said, her voice dripping with honey. "But remember, everything comes with a price. Fairy tales versus folk tales differ here. In fairy tales, magic brings reward. In folk tales, impatience often brings sorrow. Still, the choice is yours." Amara, blind with desire, nodded eagerly. "Do it. I cannot wait another hour." The nurse smiled, a smile too wide, too sharp, and the story of impatience began to weave its sorrowful web. The trickster nurse. In many African folk tales, there is a trickster, the sly spider Anansi, the cunning hare, or the clever fox. In Native American folk tales, it may be the coyote. In Indian folk tales, sometimes a demon disguised as a helper. These figures never arrive without reason. They come to test the hearts of men and women. This nurse was no different. As the night deepened, she placed a cool hand on Amara's forehead. "Sleep, and when you wake, your twins shall be in your arms." Amara closed her eyes, dreaming of laughter and joy. But when she woke, her arms were empty. Her heart thudded in terror. "Where are my babies?" she cried. The hospital buzzed with confusion. The doctors searched. The nurses panicked. Mothers clutched their newborns tightly. Somewhere in the chaos, the trickster nurse had vanished, along with Amara's babies. The elders would later say, "Impatience is the thief of blessings, and sometimes it steals more than you can ever return." The stolen babies. The hospital turned into a storm of fear. Police officers rushed in, families wailed, and whispers filled the air. 2 babies stolen? Impossible. But it was true. Amara's impatience had opened the door for the trickster. In folktales across the world, stolen children often vanish into mysterious realms. In some African folk tales, they are carried away by river spirits. In Native American folk tales, they are taken to the mountains to be taught by animals. In Indian folk tales, they might be hidden in temples until their destiny is fulfilled. So it was here. The twins were carried not into the arms of death, but into the arms of the forest. Strange voices welcomed them. Leaves shivered though there was no wind. The cry of the stolen babies echoed, blending with the night like a haunting song. Amara wept in her hospital bed. She now understood the meaning of classic folk tales, the ones where impatience leads to loss. But it was too late. Yet folk tales never end in despair. Every story carries a chance for redemption, and Amara's journey was only beginning. The cry in the forest. The stolen babies did not cry in the hospital. They cried in the forest. Deep in the woods, where no machines hummed and no lamps glowed, their cries rang out like drums calling to the ancestors. The spirits of the forest heard them. In African folk tales, the forest is alive. Trees whisper, rivers speak, and spirits guard the balance of life. In our Native American folk tales, the animals are teachers, coyote, eagle, and bear, guiding those who are lost. Here both truths mingled, for this folk tale was not bound by one land, but carried the wisdom of many. The babies were found by a woman of smoke and shadow, a spirit mother who had no children of her own. She lifted them in her arms, and the forest grew quiet. "You shall be mine," she whispered. "The impatient mother who lost you must learn her lesson before you return." And so the twins grew in the forest, nurtured by spirits, guarded by animals, and cradled by the earth. The wise elder's warning, back in the hospital, Amara wept. Days passed, then weeks, yet no trace of the babies was found. Police searched, doctors questioned, but no one could explain how the twins had vanished. Finally, Amara's mother took her to see an elder storyteller, a keeper of our classic folktales. The elder sat before her, his face lined with the stories of centuries. "My daughter," he said, "you have repeated the mistake of many before you. In fairy tales versus folk tales, the impatient always lose more than they gain. In some stories, the greedy lose gold. In others, the hasty lose love. You," his voice grew heavy, "have lost your children." Amara fell to her knees. "Then I am cursed forever?" The elder shook his head slowly. "No curse is eternal. Folk tales for kids and grown people alike teach that mistakes can be mended, but only through humility, patience, and sacrifice. If you wish to see your babies again, you must walk the path of stories." "What path?" "The path that crosses the lands of many peoples. You must learn from the Indian folk tales, the African folk tales, the Native American folk tales. Each will teach you something. Only when your heart is truly patient will the forest release your children." And so, Amara's journey began. The mother's journey. Amara left her home, guided by dreams. Each night she slept, a voice whispered stories, and each morning she woke knowing where to go. First she traveled to the desert, where a wandering Indian sage told her a story. "In our land," he said, "a prince once rushed to open a flower before it bloomed, and it died in his hands. Patience is not waiting for something to happen. It is trusting the time chosen by the Creator." Amara wept, realizing she had killed her own blessing by rushing. Next she traveled to an African village, where a grandmother by the fire told her another story. "In our folk tales, the trickster Anansi often tempts people with shortcuts, but those who hurry find only sorrow. Wisdom walks slowly. The forest waits for those who do not run." Amara bowed her head. Finally, she visited a native elder who sat by the river. He said, "In our stories, Coyote teaches us that desire can blind the eyes. The one who cannot wait to eat chokes. The one who cannot wait to speak offends. The one who cannot wait to love loses." Each story carved patience deeper into Amara's heart. She walked for months, barefoot and tired, until she reached the edge of the forest where her babies were hidden. The return of the babies. The forest was no ordinary place. It shimmered as if made of breath and memory. The trees leaned close, whispering stories older than any human tongue. Amara entered and heard her babies crying. Her heart leapt, but the spirit mother appeared before her. "You may not take them yet," the spirit said. "First, you must pass 3 trials." The first trial was the river crossing. The waters roared, tempting her to rush across. But Amara remembered the sage's words. Patience is trusting time. She waited, and soon stepping stones rose from the water, guiding her across safely. The second trial was the fire test. Flames blocked her path, crackling fiercely. The impatient would run and be burned. Amara waited, breathing calmly, and the flames parted to let her through. The third trial was the silence of waiting. She sat before a closed gate where her baby's cries could be heard. Hours passed. Night turned to morning. Still she waited, remembering the elder's lesson. Wisdom walks slowly. Only when dawn broke did the gate open. Inside, her twins lay sleeping. She gathered them in her arms, tears washing her face. The lesson of impatience. Amara returned home with her children, her heart transformed. She no longer rushed the days or demanded answers before their time. She learned to wait, to listen, to trust.
Her story spread across the land. Parents told it as a warning, children heard it as a lesson, and storytellers shaped it into song. Some called it an African folktale, others an Indian folktale, and still others a Native American folktale. But truly, it was a story for all humanity. Fairy tales versus folktales. Fairy tales promise magic, but folktales reveal truth. And the truth was this. Impatience steals. Patience restores. Asterisk asterisk. Epilogue. Why folktales never die asterisk asterisk. Many years later, people still tell the tale of Amara and the stolen babies in the hospital. Some whisper it as a warning to expectant mothers. Others tell it to children who cannot wait for gifts or meals. And some, in faraway lands, know it only as a mysterious folktale story that sounds half real, half dream. But that is the power of folktales. They travel. They transform. They live. From the deserts of India to the forests of Africa, from the rivers of Native America to the homes of children everywhere, folktales never die. They teach. They guide. They remind us of the ancient truth. Sparkle's patience is not weakness. It is strength. Sparkle's impatience is not harmless. It is a thief. Sparkle's every choice writes a story. So if you ever feel the fire of impatience burning in your chest, remember Amara and her stolen babies. Wait. Breathe. Trust. For even today, in the quiet corners of hospitals, forests, and homes, the spirits of the old folktales are still watching, still whispering.